Welcome back to Learn with Chris. I'm Chris. So today we're going to continue with part 2 of the listening test, part 2. So we already did the first half of part 2, the what, why, when, and where questions. So today we're going to look at the other 4 types: who, how, auxiliary verb questions, and statements. And let's talk about these briefly before we get some examples. So the who questions: who are you? Who is your mother? Who is the tallest person in your family? Who is your boss? So who questions, of course, are talking about people. So you want to listen for people. And it could be a person's name. It could be a relationship like boss, friend, brother, or sister. Or it could be an occupation like a teacher, a doctor, but a person. Then we have how questions. So how questions are very similar to what questions in our tips. We listen for the second word, right? So how old are you? So it's talking about age, right? How tall are you? It's talking about height, so centimeters tall or meters. How are you? It's talking about your feelings. How often do you do something? That's frequency. So you're listening for that second word, similar to what time, what is your favorite color, like that. But I think how questions are pretty easy generally because I think they're very common and we hear them all the time. The next part is called auxiliary verb questions. Now, auxiliary verbs are helping verbs like can, do, have, shall, may, might, must, should. So these are also called yes and no questions. So if somebody asks you an auxiliary verb question, can you swim? Do you like pizza? Have you ever been to Canada? Then you're going to answer yes or no. So these are auxiliary verb questions, but the answer that you want to listen for is yes or no. And lastly, we have statements. Now, statements are not questions. So these are definitely the most complicated and the most difficult part of this test. Statements are just sentences, and then there will be a response to that sentence. So if somebody says, I'm not feeling well, then the response might be, you should go to the hospital, or you should lay down. So the statements are usually some type of problem or situation, and then there's going to be an appropriate response to the problem. They're harder because you can't hear the question words, like who, what, where, why, how, for example. So it's a little bit harder to identify statements, and also it's harder to actually get the tips, right? Because it's a problem usually, and then you have to get the response to the problem. But we'll show some examples later on in the video. Okay, so we're going to start with who questions. So same as last time, we'll have three questions, and there'll be A, B, C answers, and we have to listen for the right answer to the question. But of course, for who, you're listening for people. So same as last time, we'll put the questions up on the screen. You can see them as you listen, but remember, on the real test, you will not see the questions written. So it's going to be more complicated and more difficult on the real test. But let's get some practice, starting with who questions.
One, who is that at the door?
A, the door is green. B, it's your cousin, Susan. C, there are 4 doors in this room.
2, who works in a hospital?
A, doctors and nurses do. B. My mom is sick. C. I worked there for 3 years.
3. Who will the new CEO be?
A. I think Mr. Smith will get the position. B. The last CEO was horrible. C. Miss Brown has been the boss for 10 years. Okay, so let's look at the answers for these. So the first one, who is at the door? Who is knocking at the door to the house? A, the door is green. That's not a person, so that's wrong. B, it's your cousin, Susan. So this includes both the relationship, cousin, and the name of the person, Susan. So B is the correct answer. And number 4, there are 4 doors in this room. Yes, but that's not a who question. So that's wrong. Number 2, who works in a hospital? A, nurses and doctors do. So that's the occupation of the people who work in hospitals. That is the correct answer. A is the answer. B, my mom is sick. Your mom is a person, and it kind of connects sick and hospital together, but it doesn't answer the question of, it doesn't say my mom works in a hospital. It just says my mom is sick. So B is wrong. And C, I worked there for 3 years. That's like a how long question. How long have you worked at the hospital? Not who works in a hospital. And number 3, who will the new CEO be? A, I think Mr. Smith will get the position of CEO. Mr. Smith is a person, so A sounds correct. But let's listen to the others. B, the last CEO was horrible. Okay, this is wrong because we're talking about the next CEO in the future, and this is about the last CEO, which is in the past. So the verb tenses don't match. And C, Miss Brown has been the boss for 10 years. Again, it's a person, Miss Brown, but she's not the new CEO. She's the current CEO because she has been the boss for 10 years. She's not the new CEO. She's the current boss. So A is the correct answer. Okay, so now we're going to move on to how questions. And again, we'll listen to 3 questions for how.
How often do you eat pizza?
A, I like pepperoni on my pizza. B, my sister works at the pizzeria. C, maybe once a month.
5. How tall is your father?
A, my father is a policeman. B, he's around 190 centimeters tall. C, she's quite tall.
6. How did you arrive here today?
A, I took the bus. B, I arrived 10 minutes ago. C, I'm waiting at the arrivals terminal. Okay, so let's look at the answers for these how questions. How often do you eat pizza? Often is frequency. Once a day, once a week, 2 times a month. Those are frequency answers. Number A, I like pepperoni on my pizza. That's not frequency. B, my sister works in a pizzeria. Again, kind of similar sound with pizza, but again, it's not a frequency. So C is the correct answer. Maybe once a month. That is frequency, matching with how often. Number 5, how tall is your father? So tall is, of course, the height of somebody. So how many centimeters? A, my father is a policeman. That's not a height. B, he's around 190 centimeters tall. That is the correct answer. And C, she's quite tall. the pronouns are wrong here because your father is not she, your father is he. Number 6. How did you arrive here today? How did you arrive? So that's, you need to listen for take a taxi or a car or subway or walk. The method of how you arrived at the location. A, I took the bus. That sounds good. B, I arrived 10 minutes ago. That's a time question. When? So that's wrong. And C, I am waiting at the arrivals terminal at an airport. And arrivals and arrive are similar sounding words. So that's wrong because it's kind of like, what are you doing right now? I am waiting at a place. So the answer is A. I took the bus. Okay, so let's continue with three more types of questions. 3 more questions for the auxiliary verb types. So these are the can you do something, verb to be, is, am, are, was, were, will be, do, have, etc. So when the question begins with a helping verb, then you know you need to be listening for yes or no in the answer.
Seven, do you need any help with the project?
A, the projector costs $100. B, yes please. C, it's in the office.
Eight, can we schedule a meeting for next week?
A, the meeting's on Tuesday. B, yes, that works for me. C, I met Tom for lunch.
9, is there a parking space available?
A, no, the car park is full. B, at the back. C, I love learning about outer space. Okay, so the first one, 7. Do you need any help with the project? A, the projector costs $100. So projector and project, same sounding word, but that's not a yes or no answer, so that's wrong. B is very simple. Yes, please. Yes, I need help with the project. And also a polite answer. Yes, please. B is the correct answer. And C, it's in the office. That's a where question, not an auxiliary verb question. C is wrong. Number 8. Can we schedule a meeting for next week? A, the meeting is on Tuesday. That's a when is the meeting question, not can we schedule. So that's wrong. B, yes, that works for me. Yes, we can schedule a meeting. So B is the correct answer. And I met Tom for lunch. Okay, but that's not a yes or no question or answer. And number 5, is there a parking space available? A, no, the car park is full. So no, a space is not available. So that is the correct answer. B, at the back, that's like a where question. Where is the parking space at the back? So wrong. And I like, number C, I love learning about outer space. Maybe that's just a similar sound, parking space and outer space. But again, not a yes or no. So that is wrong. And now we'll look at the most difficult of these types of questions, the statements. So let's listen to 3 examples of statements and their responses.
The printer is out of paper.
A, it's in the supply room. B, I will buy a newspaper later. C, I'll refill it now.
11. Wow, it's so cold in here.
A, you should put on a sweater. B, let's turn on the aircon. C, yes, I like cold beer.
The cafeteria is serving lunch until 2 p.m.
A, the cafeteria is on the first floor. B, I'll make sure to go before then. C, no, I didn't eat breakfast today. Okay, so number 10, the printer is out of paper. Not a question, it's a sentence, but it is a problem. So the response would be how to fix the problem, right? A, it's in the supply room. That's where the printer is, but it's not addressing the problem. B, I will buy a newspaper later. Same sound, out of paper and newspaper, so that's wrong. And C, I'll refill it now. That means I'll put paper into the printer to fix the problem. So C is the correct answer. Number 11 is another problem. Wow, it's so cold in here. A, you should put on a sweater. So a sweater, of course, is a thick shirt. If you're cold, put on a shirt. That would fix the problem. A is the answer. B, let's turn on the aircon. That actually makes the problem worse. If you're cold and you're turning on the aircon, you'll be more colder. So that's the wrong answer because it's the opposite of what you should do. And C, yes, I like cold beer. That's a yes-no question. This is not a yes-no question. This is a statement. So that is wrong. Also, same sound, cold. And the last one, number 12. The cafeteria is serving lunch until 2 p.m. Now, cafeteria is a place where people buy food, usually in schools, universities, and office buildings. So it's a specific area to buy food. So, and it will serve lunch until 2 p.m. A, the cafeteria is on the first floor. No, that is a where question. Where is the cafeteria? B, I'll make sure to go before then. So I'll make sure to go to the cafeteria before 2 p.m. to get my lunch. Maybe I'll go at 1 or 12:30. B is the answer. And last, no, I didn't eat breakfast today. That's wrong because this is not a yes or no question. Okay, so let's recap all 8 questions. What questions? Listen for the second word. What time, what color. Why questions? Listen for the reason why. Where questions? Location. When questions? Time. Past, present, or future. Who questions? People. How questions? Second word. How old, how tall, how often. Auxiliary verb questions. Yes or no is what you listen for. And lastly, statements. You need to understand the statement. It's usually some kind of problem and what's the response to that problem. Okay, so these 2 videos together are quite long, but that completes part 2 of the listening test. Next video, we'll look at part 3, which is called conversations between a man and a woman. And we'll look at the tips and strategies for that. So please join me in the next video. Thank you for watching today. Please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, comment in the bottom. Thank you for your time and see you next time. Bye-bye.